Shabbat Shalom to my Aquas, Batyas, daughters of Yah, my Aquas, my sisters, Banya, to my brothers, sons of Yah, my brothers, to Bat Yahweh, the house of Judah, and to Yasharal, Bat Yasharal, all of Israel. I say Shabbat Shalom to all of us, and I pray that we are all having a Yabarak Shabbat today. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not sure, but you know, when Yhwshi returns, he will correct all things. So, including our hearts, our language, you know, like all of those things is going to restore to us so much. We have to be working on our hearts now, so that when he comes, when Yhwshi comes, we'll be ready for him to do the rest, do whatever else he still has to do, you know, the weeding out, the separating, the gathering and separating the wheat from the tares. Okay, so the purpose of this video is that I wanted to share what I was reading this morning. I did, you know, want to also say before I get into that I pray that those of you who are gathering, who have legitimate, decent, Yah-fearing gatherings, people to fellowship with, you are truly blessed, and I pray that your Shabbat lesson, your Shabbat fellowship is uplifting, encouraging, enlightening, convicting, admonishing, you know, correcting when needed, rebuking when necessary, but that it grows you, and you know, just that it grows you. And I believe I found a fellowship in New Jersey, though, and I'm not in New Jersey, but so I can't go every Shabbat, but I'm looking for one in Philly. So if anybody knows of any, you can just kind of leave some suggestions, and I will check them out, because you know, we need to gather. You know, we need to gather. I'm not Israel by myself. I need my brothers and my sisters, especially since I come from, and this has nothing to do with what I want to message about today, to leave, but I have siblings, and my parents, my father, my mother, and my stepfather, and then I have two brothers and one sister, and at least my mom and my sister know who we are as a people, but in terms of adhering to it, like meaning like they love the Bible, but they don't know that they're not following Yah, you know, the creator of heaven and earth, who this book is about, because they're still doing like Christmas, Easter, all of those things. They still go to Sunday church, and even with my sister and her husband and their children, they go to a mixed congregation, and you know, nothing that where they're being taught by an Edomite, and we know. I don't need to say any more about that, I don't think. So I pray for my family, but I don't have the fellowship that I used to have with them. So I am looking for my true, where Yhwshi said, who is my father and my mother? Who is my mother? Who are my brothers and my sister? Like, who is my family? Those that do the will of Abba Yahweh. So I am in need of my real family, and I don't want to cry. So I'm gonna leave it at that, because right now I feel it coming on. It's a very painful thing to know the truth, and to know that at least some of your family members know the truth about who they are. But when you read things like Jeremiah 10 to them, they say, well, you know, with regard to the Christmas tree, well, you know, put up, I know it's pagan, but you know, the evergreen tree reminds me of the everlasting love that the Father has for me. What? Stuff like that. Or when I say, listen, this is who we are, and this is our responsibility, and the response is, you know, you need to go to the foot of the cross and to find who you are, like, and you're in an occult or in a cult. And I haven't joined any camps. I haven't joined any groups. I've been studying the word, So, it's like, what? Or when I come and say, okay, you're sick because, you're not keeping Yah's laws and his commandments. And in fact, you've rejected them, and you refuse even to look at them, and you're wondering why now all of a sudden you have this sickness in your 40s that came out of nowhere seemingly, and you don't recognize that it's the hand of Yah telling you he's not pleased with you. But when I come and tell you this is why you're sick, rather than address that, you say, oh, you're in a cult, and like start talking about me being in a cult, which I haven't joined anything, and it's very painful. I'm like, okay, you really gonna dance a skirt all the way around the issue of your health condition, which is all I addressed here with scripture telling you need to go and repent, and start keeping God's laws and commandments, and he'll heal you, because that's what he is. He's a healer. And you want to just dance all the way around that, like do a two-step and slide to the side, and get all the way around that, and come back to, I haven't mentioned any group, I haven't suggested you go to a group, I haven't done anything like that, and you want to tell me that I'm in a cult when I addressed you from the word of Yah. It's painful. Or when you half-heartedly, like half-step it, like, okay, I know this is who we are, I know we're supposed to keep the Sabbath and all that, but you have to, like, yeah, I know, but today, this is the day that I don't want to offend the people that are in my life, like my marriage partner or my child, so I don't want to do that and get them all upset. So you know what, since they want to go do this today on the Shabbat, I'm gonna go ahead with them this time. They don't do it every Shabbat, but like, no, take a stand for Yah, don't be lukewarm. And I'm personally, even, because I'm not perfect and I'm striving, I've been through a lot in my life, but it's very painful to have a family when I know that they are straight up Bible thumpers, and then I'm saying, hey, come on, let's look at this together, and they don't want to. They want to do an intervention because they believe I'm in a cult. So, needless, I just took up 8 minutes, which this wasn't my plan. I even started doing this video on my iPhone, but the time, not the time ran out, my space ran out, which I just finished clearing my iPhone, so I don't know why I did that. And I didn't mention any of this in that video, so just, I am in need of a good, clean, no nonsense, no backbiting, no jealousies, no butting into people's businesses, like no telling each other's business. Like, I need a clean, like, people that live by the word of Yah, that accept the whole Bible. What is called the Old and New Testament, as well as the Apocrypha, as well as the lost books. I need a fellowship where the brothers love the sisters and don't mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and physically abuse them. Don't beat them down. I need where the men are strong, yes, but knowing that strength don't mean you got to tear your sisters down in order for you to be strong, because we are one in Yah. We are joint heirs. We are heirs together in the grace of life, according to 1 Peter, I believe it's 3:7. I've been like, that's been my scripture for the last over a couple months or so. But anyway, yeah, 3:7. I'll just read it real quick since I mentioned it. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them, meaning their wives, according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Because your prayers can be hindered, brothers, if you're treating your wife like crap. Yup, that's what the word says. So I need a real fellowship, like that's strictly about this life right here, where we can hold each other accountable. And which brings me to the point of what I wanted to share today, as that I was reading. So once again, as I get ready to switch gears, if you know of any place that fits the description that I just gave, where people don't think they know it all and don't think they already have all the answers, and they don't think they're perfect, but they're striving towards the perfection of Yah, as demonstrated by Yhwshi, as he lived out the laws and the commandments, the statutes, and was in agreement with the judgments of Yah and kept his charges. If you know of a fellowship like that, please let a sister know. They haven't been said. 2 Chronicles chapter 10 was what I wanted to share. And this is like about the when the break happened between the northern and the southern kingdom. Our ancestors. We are so good for fighting each other, okay? It just, like, historically, it's so sad. I look forward to the time when Yahweh comes and restores and everything, where mortality puts on immortality. There's no more sin. There's no more suffering. There's no more death. There's just obedience to Yah in his kingdom. I look forward to that day, and I just pray, and work so that I will make it in. Because faith without works is dead. And I want to make it into that kingdom. I want to live free of this crap, okay? Because, anyhow. 2 Chronicles chapter 10. Again, this is after Shalimah had mistreated the northern kingdom. There wasn't even a northern kingdom at that point, but he had mistreated the tribes outside of Yahweh. And so he died, and his son took over, and they're like, hey, I'm just going to read it. I'm not even going to paraphrase. What's the point? But I think that the lesson will be really clear, or, the thing that I got out of this, the lesson for me, and hopefully for you too, it'll be so clear. So, 2 Chronicles chapter 10. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for to Shechem were all Yasharal come to make him king. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was in Egypt, whither he had fled from the presence of Shalimah the king, heard it, that Jeroboam returned out of Egypt. Okay, Shalimah is King Solomon. And they sent and called him. So Jeroboam and all Yasharal came and spake to Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore ease thou somewhat the grievous servitude of thy father and his heavy yoke that he put upon us, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Come again unto me after 3 days. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men that had stood before Shalimah his father while he yet lived, saying, What counsel give ye me to return answer to this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou be kind to this people, and please them, and speak good words to them, they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel which the old men gave him, and took counsel with the young men that were brought up with him, that stood before him. And he said unto them, What advice give ye, that we may return answer to this people, which have spoken to me, saying, Ease somewhat the yoke that thy father did put upon us. And the young men that were brought up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou answer the people that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it somewhat lighter for us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. For whereas my father put a heavy yoke upon you, I will put more to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the third day. And the king answered them roughly, and King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men, and answered them after the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereto. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of Allah, that Yahweh might perform his word, which he spake by the hand of Ahiah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And when all Yasharal saw that the king would not hearken unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in Dawid? And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Which is not his name, but whatever. Every man to your tents, O Yasharal, and now, Dawid, see to thine own house. So all Yasharal went to their tents. But as for the children of Yasharal that dwelt in the cities of Yehoiada, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Hadaram, that was over the tribute, and the children of Yasharal stoned him with stones that he died. But King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Yarowashalam. And Yasharala rebelled against the house of Dawid unto this day. Now, I think first and last point the first point I need to make, and I will need to bring it up again at the end, is verse 15. 2 Chronicles chapter 10 verse 15, where it says, So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of Allah, or God, power. Allah means power, or judge. So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of Allah, that Yahweh might perform his word, which he spake by the hand of Ahiah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who he promised he was going to, reign over Israel. That's a whole nother story. He didn't trust Yah's word, and look where it landed. It landed the northern tribe in captivity to the Assyrians. But the first thing I want to say is, regardless of any point, any lesson that's here, this was Yah's will. Yah did this. Yahweh, it was his will, because of Shalamah and how he had married all these other women. The king is only supposed to have one wife. Deuteronomy chapter 17. One wife. Not this multiple polygamy, whatever. None of that. One wife. Okay? But he multiplied wives to himself, and foreign wives too. Okay? Which took his heart, which Most High said in Deuteronomy chapter 17, don't you be getting mixed up with the king shall not multiply to himself wives to himself wives, because they will take his heart away from me and turn his heart toward their gods. And that's exactly what happened to Shalamah. He started out so wise, and just that's what happened to him. And because of that, Yah was like, okay, well, I had already told you back when you were dedicating the temple, and even before that, and I told your father your seed will always be on the throne if you follow my ways and keep my laws and my commandments and my judgments and my statutes. So Shalamah had that warning, just like we all have a warning from Yah, and he did not adhere to it, and he lost the kingdom. His son lost. As a matter of fact, in the last days of Shalamah, Yah began to raise up enemies. There was an Edomite that was against him, and then of course Jeroboam, who the son of Nebat, Yah raised him up as well, and Shalamah was like, oh, I got to go to war with him, so he didn't have peace in his last days, So this is all the result. So Yahweh told Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, I'm going to give you the kingdom, but you got to follow me. And he was keeping his word by hardening the heart of Rehoboam against the people, against the northern kingdom that came to him and was like, look, Even though, again, Yah did say he would not take the entire kingdom away from Shalimah. You know, he did leave him Judah, Yahweh, the southern kingdom. You know, Yahweh, Benjamin, Yahweh, and part of Levi. So he didn't take the whole kingdom, but the chunk of the majority of the kingdom was going to Yahweh, the son of Nebat, who was an Ephraimite, if I remember correctly. So this was his will. And when it's his will, there's nothing we can do to go against it. His will is going to happen regardless. So with that having been said, understanding that this is not something that Rehoboam could have changed. He could not have ordered his own steps to go a different way, because this was Yah's will, and when he sets things in motion, his word does not return to him void, but it accomplishes what he sent it forth to do. So there, Rehoboam had no choice. So I will say that first. Secondly, what I will say, the lesson that I learned out of this, that I saw, he went to the old men first, the wise men. He went to them first. I was like, what should we do? What should I do? And they gave him such a solid, good answer that was full of wisdom. The answer that they gave him was wise. It was reasonable. It was realistic. It would appease the anger of the northern kingdom. It would re-solidify the relationship between all of the tribes of Israel. It would have just kind of solidified it, and brought it back together and re-strengthened the bonds of family amongst us. It could have done all of those things. The answer that they gave him was just like bomb. If Yah wasn't against it and he followed it, the kingdom would not have been torn in half. But because of Shalimah's sins, this had to come about. So the old men gave him wise counsel. He went to them first. But then he rejected their counsel. Okay? Again, he had no choice. But still, got to point this out because we still do these things today. He rejected their counsel and went instead to the young men who came up with him. So y'all growing up together. Y'all probably getting in trouble together. Y'all getting corrected together. Y'all doing all kind of stuff, whatever. And just based on what kind of man Rehoboam was, you can imagine the friends that your friends are kind of like you. Not always, but the people that you really, really hang around and you really entrust to give you advice and all that kind of stuff, y'all pretty much just alike. And their answer was like, crack the whip, bruh. Like, they was just like, don't ease their burden, make it worse. Like, oh, they want to ease the burden, you want you to ease the burden? Okay, why don't you be like Pharaoh? Okay? Increase their burden. What? So, and that's the advice he chose to follow. That's the advice he followed. Now, I mean, if he had turned to Yah himself like his father initially did and was like, praying for wisdom, and I'm sorry for my stuff. I repent for the sins of my father. I'm not going to follow in his ways. I want to follow you. I want to do what you want. I want to run this kingdom the way that you want. And just like King Josiah later on, Yesaiah later on, Yeshaya. Just like him. When he tore down, like he destroyed, like he could have went and done, Rehoboam could have went and done this, destroyed all the temples to the false gods that his father had erected for his wives, okay, where he was worshiping too. He could have went through there and said, no, this is not a Yah, and he could have destroyed them. He could have just tore it down and destroyed the prophets of these false gods and everything, and maybe Yah would have been like, okay, you're after my heart. Yah is like, it's so, and I believe that Yah would have then maybe, would have spared him. And, of course, he did make a promise to Jeroboam, so eventually it would have to come about. But just imagine if Rehoboam was, he was humble, his heart was humble towards Yah. Just, then maybe the kingdom wouldn't have been torn out of his hands at that time. It would come later, maybe to someone else, another king. So I say that to say, yeah, it was the will of Yah, and I did say earlier he didn't really have a choice. It was the will of Yah, and the will of Yah is going to come to pass no matter what. But I want to take back that statement that he didn't have a choice. We always have a choice. Yah does harden some people's hearts, and in that case, it's just like forget about it. But he hardens our hearts based on his knowledge of us. So if he had a heart towards Yah, Yah would not have brought this to his doorstep. It would have come later to when Yah, I'm like, okay, not you, but I know that one right there, his heart is not. So that's what happened with Rehoboam. Like, that one right there, his heart is not going to be turned towards me. I'm going to bring this right now. I'm going to bring this to pass. So just seeing that, because we have, and I can say that confidently because there are examples of Yah staying the judgment, pausing it, holding it back until after the death of that particular king. Again, that's King Josiah. Okay, his story can be found in I believe in 2 Kings, and also in some, I'm going to get to it soon, in 2 Chronicles. Okay, so his all of that, Yah did stay the judgment. So Yah can and does. We have, this was something that came afterwards, but we do have proof that this is what he does. Even Mashah in the wilderness, when our ancestors were sinning against Yah, and Yah was like sending plagues and knocking them off thousands by thousands, Mashah was prayed on their behalf, told the people to repent, and once they did, Yah stayed the judgment. So we have evidence that Yah does this. This is not me thinking, well, what if Yah did that, and what if? Nope. The proof is in these scriptures. So, if his heart had been soft towards Yah, if he had been humble, this could have passed his kingship. It could have went, past him. He could have remained king. He could have solidified the relationships and whatever, and but his heart was not turned towards Yah. He was not humble. He followed in the ways of his father. There's a subtitle down here that he had many wives, so he just did the same thing that his father did, which was evil in Yah's sight. So he went to the younger guys that he grew up with. First, he asked the older men. He didn't like what they had to say. So he went to somebody who was going to give him counsel after his own heart. He didn't like what they had to say. If he was even considering, like, okay, maybe I should. Like, if that was even a consideration in his heart, then he would have listened to those wise men, the older men. But that wasn't in his heart. Maybe he wanted them to say the same thing. That he was looking for counsel after what was already in his heart. Okay, like itchy ear doctrine. He was looking for someone to affirm what was in it. How often do we do that? We skip past the wise counsel. I do this. I've done this, and I want to be free from that. We skip past the wise counsel of other people who are older, and maybe they're not always older, but sometimes they can step outside of us. You just know that person has wisdom, and they can step outside of a situation and look at it and evaluate it and tell you, mm-mm. But instead, you be like, what do they know anyway? And then you go find, you may ask a few more people, and they might say the same thing that the other person said, and you're like, oh, whatever. But you eventually run across at least one person who is going to counsel you according to what is already in your heart to do. And you won't look any further. You stop right there with them. That I have done that. Okay? Stop right there with them and be like, okay, that's what I was looking for. That's what I need to, and without even saying that's what I was looking for, that's what I need to hear. Okay, this is the count. This sounds right to me. This feels right to me. And look at the trouble that it brought. Somebody got stoned because of the bad counsel that he gave. This man got stoned, lost his life. Went to go collect money from Israel, and Yasharal was like, no, and stoned him. So the point is, why are we seeking counsel from people who they're growing up with us? We know them, they know us. We think alike, we act alike. So we're going to go look to our friends to give us some. And some friends are wise and will give wise counsel. So I will say that. But then there's times, most likely, like again, birds of a feather flock together, and you end up getting seeking counsel from someone who's just going to affirm for you or reaffirm for you what's already in your heart to do, rather than seeking the person who's going to tell you the hard thing, or the true thing, which is 9 times out of 10 the hard thing. Okay, we need to not do that. We need to be held accountable. We need to be holding each other accountable. If you like find yourself wise in your own eyes, you think you're the wisest person, you're the smartest person, that's a lack of wisdom right there. That's the sign of a fool. Okay? And when you surround yourself with people who are your age or younger than you, that are they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you know so much, and they're just gonna lift you up and be like, yeah, you just know so much, rather than also find that 1, 2 or 3 older wise men, that even if they don't agree, which 9 times the problem is they don't agree with everything, which is why you don't want that counsel. We don't want the counsel from them because they don't agree with everything that we say or do. So there's an issue there when we don't want the correction, even if the older counsel doesn't see everything eye to eye, even if they're not all the way in the truth. Like, they might know some things, they might not know everything, but they can see things and pick up on things and talk to you about them, what they are saying. Yah will use anything, just like he used that donkey to let Balaam know, hey, I told you not to go and try to meet up with I think it was the Midianites or the Moabites, one of them. I told you not to go and meet up with them because I'm not cursing Israel, and you ain't going to be putting a curse on them either. So I got this messenger here standing there with the flaming sword. Is going to take your head off if you proceed. Okay? And the donkey was like, you don't see the messenger in front of me, you beating me, but there's a messenger right there in front of us with a flaming sword, and he is going to kill you if I continue to walk. So I didn't stop for your protection. She said, the donkey was a she, okay? I stopped for your protection, and you want to beat me up. Oh, there's a lesson in that. There is a lesson in that. Not to compare women to donkeys, but there is a lesson in that, okay? But just the whole idea of getting wise counsel from someone who's older than you, not making sure that you're not just surrounding yourself with people who are younger, who need you to learn, who need to learn from you. Then you're just setting yourself up as a king or as a queen, but you don't have any wise counsel to show you when you're wrong. These people are not going to call you out because 9 times out of 10 they don't want to upset you. They might be scared of you, or they think exactly the same way that you do. But get an older man, brothers. Get an older woman, sisters, who will stand up to you and say, no matter what you decide to do, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is not after the counsel of Yah. Okay? Even if they don't do everything exactly the same way as you, even if, say, they don't keep the Shabbat from sundown to sundown, but they keep the Shabbat from sunrise to sundown, even because of stuff that they read in the scriptures, or if you're the person that keeps the Shabbat from sunrise to sundown, but they keep it from sundown to sundown, but you don't want to listen to what they're saying because of that small difference, but they have some wisdom to share with you that's going to save your life possibly, and you don't want to hear it because you don't want correction. You don't want to be corrected. You don't want to be told that you're wrong. You want yes men and yes women who are just going to worship the ground you walk on. Basically, you're looking to exalt yourself above Yah. You don't want his correction. You don't want to be told when you're wrong. That's a problem. That's a problem. You can correct everybody else, but nobody can correct you. That's a real problem. That's pride. That's arrogance. That's a lack of humility. That's just wickedness. and you're just refusing to go along with what Yah says. We need to ask the old wise men. We need to ask the older wise women. And again, there are some young wise men and some young wise women who are older in wisdom than they are in years on the face of this earth, who will tell you the truth and not spare you, but who will tell you the truth whether you want to hear it or not, whether you adhere to it or not, but will hold you accountable. We need to be held accountable. Every last single one of us needs to be held accountable. And let me tell you what, honestly, yeah, it will sometimes be your friends, but if your friends are the same as you, then it's not going to be them. They're going to be doing the same things you're doing, okay? But if somebody else that can look at you and say, older women, older men that can look and say, I've been here a lot longer, or even though I've been here 5 years longer than you, or 10 years longer than you, whatever, 20. I've been here longer, and I see the path that you're going down. And I've seen this before. I've been down it myself, or I've watched other people go down it, and the end thereof is death. So let me help you. Let me then come and check on you and hold you accountable, because that's what we're supposed to do in order to get ourselves right and ready for Yah, where we have to work out our own soul salvation with fear and trembling, where we have to purify ourselves even as He is pure. If we have the hope in ourselves that when He comes, we're going to be like Him, if we have that, if we are supposed to work out of ourselves the things that are displeasing to Yah, we cannot do it alone. We need accountability. We need accountability. I can't stress that enough. Because without it, you will continue on in life thinking everything is all right. You're right with Yah. And your friends who are not correcting you are walking along that same path with you, or even maybe they're just too afraid to say anything because of your temper. They don't want to lose you as a friend or as a whatever. So they might be like, I can't say anything about that because he gonna go off or she gonna go off. So, I'm not gonna say anything about that. Meanwhile, you're just like down the road of life. And that path is getting wider and wider. There's more people on it than the path you were on before when you were back up that way and you're on your way to hell, to the lake of fire, with no accountability, nobody helping you along in your journey, because you think you've arrived, you think you're smarter than everybody else, that you're the smartest person that you're the smartest person that they know, and you have all the answers when you don't. Because if you have that, that's pride and arrogance, and those things will not make it into the kingdom of Yah. So we need people who are going to hold us accountable. We can't be like Rehoboam and ask the old people for, their counsel, and then like, I ain't doing that. What? And then turn around and go to your homeboys, your boys or whatever over there and be like, can you believe Pop's tripping? He told me to go ahead and make nice with them people. My brothers, mind you. He told me to, be kind. They told me to be kind. What you said? What do you think? And then your brothers over there going to tell you, well, they want to agree with you. We need the people that are not always going to agree with us. Because those kind of people will hold us accountable. And with that, I will say, Shabbat Shalom.